Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Strike the Blood. Strike the Blood episode 8. And in episode 8, we get to see that the whole Nacalavera episode is now finished. Koji has now wiped them all out. They're all pretty much all gone. And we're now moving on to our next arc, probably with Valtyr, and more of the Lion King organization and their plans for what they want Koji to be. Because they're still trying to raise him up to be some sort of vampire the way they want him to be acting, or some sort of puppet of sorts. And so in this episode, there are some good things, and there's some bad things. There's always good and bad things about this episode. I would say the good things is the animation. It's pretty much consistent. It's consistent animation. None of the faces look weird. None of the action looks out of place. It looks pretty much, when it says something's going to do something, it's going to do it. Of course, they add a little bit of CG with Nacalavera, and I didn't really mind it too much. It wasn't that glaring, of a CG. Some of them do it really bad. This one did it okay. It wasn't like popping out your eyes, about to, bleed them to death or something, because of the way it doesn't even work with the 2D background. In this case, it looked okay. So I'd say animation, good, okay, very consistent animation. Bad things. Storyline, story plot, there are some inconsistencies. As to be expected. Kind of seems to be one of those series that does have these things, and a lot of things that also seem a bit strange, just at, second glance. When you think about it again, you're like, I don't know if it should have gone down like that. Especially when, if you remember Sayaka and Kyoji, when they got trapped underneath the water, all that stuff, and she was like, drink my blood, so you can, break us out of here. I was thinking to myself, I was like, doesn't Kyoji, can't he just jump up? Doesn't he have, the strength of, Superman or something like that? I swear I remember him, punching through a wall before and, leaping off buildings. It could have just been Valtyr, but, Valtyr himself is also a vampire, and on, the scale of vampires, he's supposed to be lower than Kyoji. So, Kyoji should be able to do everything Valtyr can do. And I'm remembering, when he fought the Deacon, the combat Deacon, didn't he, beat shit up? Did he not, literally crush, I don't know, freaking half that room while he was fighting him? Okay, so something's up with that room. I guess it's, an impenetrable room that apparently has super strength. I thought it was concrete, but apparently it wasn't concrete or steel. It was some sort of harder material that apparently he cannot punch through. So, yeah, that was a bit strange. Also, with her sword shamanness, Sayaka, I thought she would be able to, blast herself up. And she seems to have no problem jumping, I don't know how tall, a couple, 20 feet or so in the air while she's fighting a Nacalavera. But when it comes to, saving her own life because, she's about to drown because of the water, apparently that's not an option. And apparently she can't use her sword because that's not an option either, because plot hack says that you can't use swords when you're about to drown with, the guy. Something like that. Anyway, so that was a bit of a question mark in my head. Maybe they had some sort of explanation. I don't remember it. First glance, second glance, it doesn't seem like that was, supposed to go down that. We also get to see a bit of the background for the Nacalavera as well. Apparently you can reprogram it, as Asagi did. So that, begs to question how that even works, because the Nacalavera, as I thought it was an ancient device back in the day, about, maybe 1,000 or so years ago. I don't remember it. But it should be about 1,000, because it says old civilizations. I'm assuming that means, 3,000 BC, but I could be wrong. They could be I could be taken out of context here. But I'm wasn't, the pyramids and, the Egyptian days, they don't have no computers. So I don't understand how they even program these machines to even do anything. That's the thing about the Nacalavera, is when I thought they were introducing this thing, it was gonna be old, maybe a golem, but not a machine that has robotic parts and laser eyeballs. I don't know. Thumbs up. There are some, there are some questions to be asked about, what was going on there. But yeah, yeah, so those are some of the weird things I found in this episode. Now, having said all that, where is it going from here? It kind of seems like that every time Kyoji gets into a fix, he needs a girl. He doesn't need just the girl, he needs the blood. You know, he just needs their blood. So I guess every other episode, it seems like, I don't know how many familiars he said he has. I'm assuming it's like 5 or so. At least 5, maybe 4. So we're going to be adding like a girl for each of his familiars because he needs to have their blood in him for them to listen to them. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. I guess it's like a harem, but with a shonen take on it. So I'm like, I guess that kind of works. That kind of works. I guess, I mean, like, now that we're adding, like, you know, women to this, like concubines, we're adding, like, concubines to this thing, you know, I can see this being very interesting. Like, I mean, like, I as much as I don't, you know, like the fact that Sayaka literally, like, practically formed a relationship over him because he, like, you know, carried her in his arms. I mean, wasn't that the reason? I mean, like, she just literally said, you know, suck my blood because I don't feel bad towards you, and, like, you know, you carried me and I didn't feel bad at all. So I'm like, okay, you know, I guess all the girls in this series so far seem to be very, I would say, easygoing. They're pretty easygoing. So, I don't know about that. That whole aspect about the harem stuff, gonna be interesting to see. Especially if they start fighting over him. I just kind of love that kind of setting. I mean, like, it's when you have girls fighting over you, I guess for guys, it's such a big ego booster. But, I mean, I want to see it, because we haven't really gotten that kind of interaction that often in anime. And it's always nice to see it, because it's like, oh my god, they're all fighting against, you know, for one guy, and they all get jealous, and then they're all Tsundandres. It's like ×2 the ridiculous, you know, shenanigans, you know, because they'll start trying to, like, you know, tempt him, and then maybe they'll like, you know, foil each other's plans. I don't know. It's like, I kind of like the interaction. I like the interactions of the harems between the different characters, and it's nice when it's not the guy who's actually actively chasing, it's the girl actively chasing, because that's something we usually do not see. I find those interactions a lot more interesting, especially when there's more of them in there. So we're probably going to see, like, some sort of, I don't even know, battle royale between, I guess, all the females that he, like, entices with his, you know, beautiful looks and, I don't know, wonderful personality, I guess. His personality must be, it has to be, you know, the greatest thing ever. It's apparently, no matter what he does, it's just like, they just swoon to him, and I'm like, oh my god, like, he literally is like, it could possibly be, because he's a vampire, so maybe he has that, you know, thing going where he, like, emits, like, pheromones, and just girls, like, go crazy, like, you know, Justin Bieber. I'm also curious also, what is up with Nagase? Like, last episode, I forgot to mention this, but I was like, she got possessed? I mean, I guess she's, like, has, like, the soul of something in her. I guess, also, yeah, she has, like, the soul of something in her that I'm assuming is from her trauma, because she's traumatized about the terrorist stuff that happened way back when, about those werewolves or something that attacked her, demons attacked her. So I'm guessing she somehow got possessed somewhere with that event, because they were kind of shown together. So it was like the demon attack, and then she became possessed, like, after that whole ordeal. So I'm guessing there's a connection somewhere that we'll probably find out a little bit later. Alright, episode 9, Strike the Blood. Here we go.